Hello, today we're going to look at the physiology of puberty. Adolescence is the period of human development during which a young person must move from dependency to independence, autonomy, and maturity. The World Health Organization defines adolescence as the period of life between 10 to 19 years of age. A young person moves from being part of a family group to being part of a peer group and to standing alone as an adult. It is during this time adolescents face physical changes and challenges, including cognitive, psychological, social, moral, and spiritual, as well as biological. At around 12 years old, in boys and girls, physiological process known as puberty occurs. This process lasts between 2 to 5 years. There are two changes related to puberty, namely physical changes and secondly, hormonal changes. Note that the physical changes in puberty has been used to assess clinically using the Tanner staging. In hormonal changes, the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis or HPZ axis is essential in turning on puberty at appropriate times. Hypothalamus releases GnRH. Cells of the anterior pituitary respond by secreting luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormones or gonadotropin into the circulation. The gonads, ovaries and testes respond to the rising LH and FSH by producing testosterone and estrogen respectively. The rising levels of sex hormones promote body change in male and female respectively. Now, let's look at the control of onset in pubertal development. Neurokinin B and kisspeptin at hypothalamic neurons switches on the release of GnRH at the start of puberty. GnRH further stimulates gonadotrope cells of the anterior pituitary. Gonadotrope cells releases luteinizing hormones and follicle stimulating hormones. In addition, hormones secreted by fat cells, known as leptin, regulates appetite and metabolism through hypothalamus in regulating the timing of puberty. Puberty may be affected by different factors. There may be heritability, environmental factors such as endocrine disruptors, pathological conditions, social conditions, nutritional factors, as well as age and weight. Precocious puberty, or unusually early onset of puberty, which occurs at the age of less than 7 years old in girls and less than 8 years old in boys. There are two types of precocious puberty, namely central precocious puberty and peripheral or GnRH independent precocious puberty. The central precocious puberty is gonadotropin releasing hormone dependent. It follows the pattern of pubertal changes, more commonly seen in girls compared to boys. Mostly is idiopathic. Other causes may be tumors, central nervous system dysfunction.
Well, every parent says, my kids are growing up too fast, but these days, they really are.
Kids as young as 4 years old are starting puberty. Melissa McCready has this health alert.
It's early puberty to an extreme. One mother says that her daughter started before even seeing her first day of kindergarten. So what's causing it, and is there anything we can do to stop it? Sitting on the couch with her new iPad, you'd think 6-year-old Anaya Roll was right on track with all the other kids her age. But mom Nikki says 2 years ago that was put in question.
She was about 4 years old, and I noticed that she looked like she was forming breasts.
A quick trip to the pediatrician provided what appeared to be an easy answer.
She told me that it was because she gained weight.
But Nikki's mom instinct told her it wasn't that simple. She took Anaya to Dr. Casey Jaime for a second opinion. He ran a test on Anaya called a bone age. The results, shocking.
It said that she was actually 7, almost 8. When she was actually 4.
And Nikki's daughter isn't alone. Dr. Jaime says in the last 10 years, a significant number of girls as young as 4 or 5 are developing the outward signs of puberty.
Body odor, adult body hair growth in certain areas, and breast enlargement, of course, in girls.
So why is this happening? First and foremost, our diets have changed with our fast-paced lifestyle. And it's not just what we eat, but what we eat out of, from Tupperware to plates, sippy cups, and bottles.
Plastic has a great source of chemicals.
In the meantime, Anaya is on medication that will stop her development until she's taken off of it. But Nikki has a warning for other parents.
If you go into your pediatrician and you feel that your kid's having breasts and they telling you something else, you need to go get a second opinion.
So what can you do? Dr. Jahami says that it helps to minimize fatty foods and the use of plastics, especially ones that are heated in the microwave, such as baby bottles or food in Tupperware containers. Melissa McCready, today's TMJ4.
Peripheral precocious puberty is GnRH independent. It may present with some or all of the physical changes of puberty. Causes may be exogenous sex steroids or gonadotropins, abnormal secretions of gonadotropin, tumors, congenital adrenal hyperplasia, McCune-Albright syndrome. To understand congenital adrenal hyperplasia, consider 5 enzymes involved in cortisol production, namely 2022 desmolase, 17 hydroxylase, 3 beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, 21 hydroxylase, 11 beta hydroxylase. By looking at the diagram, we can see that the main congenital adrenal hyperplasia is lacking of 21 hydroxylase, which is the enzyme colored in red, numbered 4. The lacking of 21 hydroxylase thus suppress mineralocorticoid and cortisol. This low level of aldosterone and cortisol increases ACTH production, leading to adrenal hyperplasia. Note that androgen can still be synthesized. These can be observed as ambiguous genitalia. This table summarizes enzyme deficiencies resulting in congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Note that the decrease in 21 hydroxylase, 11 beta hydroxylase can be manifest as virilized females. This is related to the increased androgen. On the other hand, steroidogenic acute regulatory protein, or STAR, 3 beta hydroxysteroid dehydrogenase, 17 alpha hydroxylase can be manifested as delayed puberty, and it is very much related to a decrease in androgen. McCune-Albright syndrome is any combination of 2 or more of these findings: cafe au lait, precocious puberty, fibrous dysplasia, acromegaly, hyperthyroid, Cushing's, rickettsia. So any combination of 2 or more of these typical findings is referred to as McCune-Albright syndrome. This syndrome is not inherited. Instead, it is caused by a random mutation in a GNAS genes that occurs very early in the development. As a result, some of the body's cells have a normal version of GNAS genes, whilst other cells have the mutated versions, which is a phenomenon called as mosaicism. Let us look at delayed puberty. It is when girls or boys has passed the usual age of pubertal onset, with neither physical nor hormonal signs. Causes may be due to eugonadotrophic, hypergonadotrophic hypogonadism, hypogonadotrophic hypogonadism.
I was diagnosed at the age of 23 after university, when I first started my first job. Up to that point I was told I was a late developer, a late bloomer, and nobody had mentioned my lack of sense of smell. I don't think I barely noticed it either. I was diagnosed with slight deafness. That'd been picked up at school, but that's the only thing that was wrong with me at the time, apart from not going through puberty. So I went through school, university, with no puberty, no development at all. And every time I went to see the doctor, it was just wait and see, late developer. So it's such a rare condition. Most patients have no contact with another patient with this condition. So it can be very isolating, especially before diagnosis, because you have no idea that this condition exists, and you think you're the only person in the world not going through puberty, and that affects you both physically and mentally sometimes. Getting diagnosis and putting a name to the condition, I then was given testosterone treatment, which is the one hormone I was missing. So I've gone through all my teenage years with no testosterone, and I was given the correct dose of testosterone. Then I suddenly felt, I'd say normal again, but suddenly felt male, because you then started to get more energy, more hair growth. I started looking my age, so I slightly felt better about myself. And psychologically, having put a name to the condition, knowing you're not the only person out there with this condition, you're not the only person not going through puberty. And I was introduced to a fellow patient. It's quite a relief to actually meet something like that. At the moment, there's only 2 specialists in this country who specialise in KS, and some patients aren't aware that they can actually ask to go and see this certain specialist, wherever they are in the country, to get referred to a specialist in Cameron syndrome. Especially with a rare one like this, and with the fertility treatments, it's very, very helpful to see a doctor who's had experience in dealing with other patients. The condition, once treated, is very manageable. If you don't want fertility, the treatment's very straightforward, because there's no other health effects of the condition. It's straightforward, testosterone, estrogen. There's no other long-term health consequences, so you can have a normal life. But it's getting that diagnosis and understanding that condition. Once you're there, you're feeling better.